What's up guys, today I explain you 3 animes Death Note, Hunter x Hunter, and Naruto. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe this channel, because we are close to hit the 1,200 followers, and now have fun with the video.
It's not quite as sprawling as laughably long animated series like One Piece, but jumping into the world of Naruto at this point is still quite a daunting task. The long-running and beloved show, based on Masashi Kishimoto's manga of the same name, follows a young ninja named Naruto Uzumaki as he navigates a world built around mystical control of inborn elemental abilities. It takes long enough to tell the story of his training in these arts that many of the young fans of the show age right along with him. The show is split into 2 separate storylines, the original Naruto following the young ninja in training as a child, and Naruto Shippuden picking up with his later exploits as a teenager. While you might think this would make it easier to digest, the 2 shows come to a whopping 720 episodes between them. To give you a better idea of scale, the Adult Swim anime block Toonami began airing Shippuden's 500 episodes on a weekly basis in 2014. They are scheduled to finally wrap the series in 2024. Before you get discouraged by the massive pile of cartoon ninja-related homework, let us walk you through the world of the series. You'd be hard-pressed to find any story that needs 720 episodes to wrap itself up. But that doesn't mean the eventual tale told by Naruto isn't worth a bit of investment. Both Naruto and Naruto Shippuden are set on a fictionalized Earth where people are born with innate elemental chakra powers. The world, as it exists, is divided into 5 global powers and some smaller countries. These countries are named and organized around the dominant elemental trait of the people who live there. For example, the 5 great powers are named the Land of Earth, the Land of Wind, the Land of Lightning, the Land of Water, and the Land of Fire. The countries are ruled over by monarchs and protected by a warrior class of ninjas who have honed their elemental powers. These armies are maintained by training young people who show promise in hidden villages that double as academies. The young ninjas are frequently called upon to perform tasks using their powers, sustaining the village by earning money while also building up their experience. It's in this world that we are introduced to an impetuous young orphan with a chip on his shoulder, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto's parents were incredibly talented fighters for the Land of Fire, and his mother Kushina contained powers that were beyond even the most gifted ninjas. Her immense reserve of chakra allowed her to be a rare carrier of a demon spirit called a 9-tailed fox. These beasts were sealed inside humans who could control them, giving them incredible powers while also making them responsible for containing the monster. Naruto's mother was attacked by the leader of a renegade ninja group when she was most vulnerable during the birth of her son. The attacker was able to unseal Kushina's beast, and the resulting rampage destroyed the Uzumaki's home village. Both of Naruto's parents were killed in the fight, with his father sacrificing himself to stop the beast's destruction. In the process, he sealed a portion of the beast inside his infant son, the orphan Naruto, containing this power at such a young age, and that power coming from a beast that destroyed his village made him an outcast even as the village looked after his well-being. Brash and unsocialized, Naruto makes himself a bit of a nuisance, if only to get people to look at him. He pulls pranks on the local villagers, and frequently offends his elders for a break from the typical wide berth that people who know his origin give him. The village is largely happy to him leave when he's sent off to have his talents crafted at Ninja Academy. Once in the academy, the cast fills out with a whole crew of young ninjas. We come to learn that they are all trying to be the best possible fighter in the academy, though their motivations are quite different. Naruto longs to be revered for his fighting talents because of the neglect he endured for most of his life. He develops a friendship with his classmate Sakura Haruno and a rivalry with the preternaturally talented Sasuke Uchiha, while Naruto is constantly frustrated by Sasuke's talent and the way that it keeps Naruto from being held up in the highest regard by his trainers and classmates. The pair eventually become close friends. Through this growing friendship, we learn that Sasuke is equally driven by a tragic origin story. His entire clan was murdered by his older brother Itachi, who is a member of the shadowy organization of rogue shinobi who killed Naruto's parents. Sasuke hopes to become a skilled fighter so he can seek out his brother and kill him. We learn that Sasuke was always compared to his older brother, and it tormented him in the same way. Sasuke's gifts bothered Naruto. He could never quite measure up. He returned home one day from training to find that his brother had killed his entire family. His brother projected visions of the grisly murders into his Sasuke's mind, and when Sasuke asked why he would kill their clan, he told him it was a test of his abilities. Sasuke's fascination with revenge drives him mad. He goes rogue and abandons his friendships with his classmates. His choice to pursue life outside of the structure of the villages and kingdoms pushes him down into the criminal underbelly of the shinobi world. He joins a group called the Sound Four after he becomes frustrated with the speed at which his ninjutsu skills are developing. The first series is brought to a close by the end of Sasuke and Naruto's friendship. The young ninjas clash after the academy tracks Sasuke down, powered by the substances that the Sound Four have given him. Sasuke is much stronger than he was when he ran away from the academy. The incredibly intense fight forces Naruto to call upon the beast trapped inside of him. Even so, he is overpowered by Sasuke, though he does not wish to be foiled by any further attacks from Naruto. Sasuke ultimately spares his former friend's life. He feels that killing his unconscious friend would make him too much like his brother. In a symbolic gesture, he leaves the head protector he wore at the academy by Naruto's body. In the background of all this, there are looming attacks from rogue leaders and the secret organization called Akatsuki. Knowing that the potential for global war is brewing and that Naruto will have to get much stronger to face the coming threat, a renowned ninja named Jiraiya takes Naruto out of the academy for personal training. The timeline jumps forward several years between the end of Naruto and the beginning of Shippuden. The series begins with an older Naruto returning to the academy, and we learn the progress of his friends. The trio at the center of the series are all training under legendary ninjas in individualized programs. Sakura has become an incredible healer. Naruto's abilities are much improved, and Sasuke is still on the run under the tutelage of the disgraced shinobi, Orochimaru. The new series deals with the older ninjas fighting against the growing forces of the Akatsuki, who stage bolder and bolder attacks on various cities as cover to attempt to steal the sealed beast powers that a small class of fighters like Naruto possess. At the same time, the series offers a resolution to Sasuke's years-long quest to exact vengeance on his brother. Sasuke finds his brother and they engage in a long, drawn-out battle that features several feints and mind projections. Using their illusory ninjutsu abilities, the brothers go through several battles that end in gruesome and psychedelic ways, only for it to be revealed that the battle has yet to start. Outside of their minds, the pair eventually do fall into a pitched battle, blasting each other with ever-increasing attacks. Sasuke notices that his brother is off and determines that Itachi was weakened before the start of the fight. Eventually overcome by his injuries, Itachi approaches his brother, who can also no longer fight. Itachi taps Sasuke on the forehead before dying of exhaustion leaving a bloody trail down Sasuke's face. When Sasuke awakens after collapsing, Itachi's true backstory is revealed. He learns that Itachi murdered his clan as a part of his sworn oath to protect their home. The elders of the Uchiha clan were planning a coup, thereby throwing the relatively stable land of fire back into a series of small wars. Itachi, who was a child during the last Great War between the nations, realized that turning on his clan was the only way to prevent uncountable deaths. He killed his entire family and was labeled a traitor, but all the while he was working in service to his country. The traitor status served a dual purpose, protecting Sasuke from being viewed with suspicion and allowing Itachi to infiltrate the rogue shinobi organization, Akatsuki. He worked as a spy for the Land of Fire, passing on information about their battle plans to leadership, and keeping himself alive just long enough so that his brother could come and have his revenge. Sasuke is not the dyed-in-the-wool patriot that his late brother was. Seeing the machinations of his home laid plain, and the way they were willing to sacrifice his entire family for their own well-being, pushes Sasuke to the actual areas that his brother was only engaging in as a double agent. The murder of his clan and his all-consuming quest for revenge had effectively ruined Sasuke's life. He turned his back on his friends and his home, left the academy before his training was over, fell in with an evil shinobi who nearly destroyed him, and ultimately murdered his last living relative, all in the service of a lie. Figuring all of this out led him to vow that he would see his village burned. His new goal in life becomes the complete and utter destruction of Konoha. He joins the Akatsuki to further his goals. Immediately before the battle between brothers, more is discovered about the organization to which Itachi nominally belongs. In a battle between Naruto's mentor Jiraiya and Akatsuki leader Nagato, the core ideology of the group is revealed. They hope to unleash all of the sealed beasts in one attack called the Infinite Tsukuyomi that will seal the entire world in a dream forever. The group is made up of disillusioned shinobi who, seeing the effects of several great wars between nations, hope to put a permanent end to the concept of war. Jiraiya is killed in the battle before he can share any information about the group and its leadership. The leaders of the 5 great nations meet to discuss how to deal with the growing threat of the Akatsuki. Leaders of the rebel group send Sasuke to attack the meeting and leave the leaders in a weakened state. Sasuke fails in his mission, and the Akatsuki are unable to demand anything from the global powers. Instead, the Akatsuki declares war on all 5 nations, prompting a global battle with a line superpowers on one side, and an incredibly dangerous splinter group on the other. The leader of the group, who has gone under the name Tobi throughout the series, is the same person who attacked Naruto's parents on the day of his birth. Then, as now, he seeks the spirits to create the super weapon that would turn the world to a dream state. He is frequently shown as masked, but in his declaration of war, he reveals he's a surviving member of Sasuke's Uchiha clan named Obito. He joined the group after he was thought to have died in the last Great War. Like many of the series' older characters, the bloodshed he had seen made him a staunch pacifist. However, when he couldn't force the leaders to cave to his demands, turning over their beasts in service of his plan, he started yet another world war. The rebel group, led by yet another believed dead member of the Uchiha clan, is eventually successful in launching their super weapon. The havoc brought upon the world by the revival of the Ten Tails beast forces a few of the series' baddies to re-evaluate their priorities. Tobi eventually turns on the entire project, sacrificing himself in an attempt to save the world. Sasuke also begins to question the current world order and reflects on his brother's commitment to keep his homeland safe. he opts to join the side of the great nations, and while he is viewed with distrust by his former colleagues, he ultimately helps thwart the beast that was released on the world. Sasuke vows to remake the world under a better system, and after the war ends, he attempts to kill the 5 leaders as his first step toward a better world. This leads to a series culminating battle between Naruto and Sasuke. They admit that they both view each other as brothers. The battle ends with both characters grievously injured and slowly bleeding out. They spend several days lying next to each other, talking about their bonds and atoning for their various wrongs. Ultimately, they are found by Sakura, who heals them both so they can remove the Dream World weapon used on the world.
On Whale Island to take the hunter exam. On the way there, he befriends Kurapika and Leorio, and upon reaching the exam site, he meets his best friend and most consistent ally, Killua. All aiming to become hunters, the 4 take the exam together, overcoming both grueling tests and the threat of the far more powerful Hisoka. Hisoka defeats Gon in their first fight, making Gon desire a rematch. The Hunter exam arc concludes with the combat tournament among the final 9 exam takers. Gon, Kurapika, Leorio and Hisoka all succeed in obtaining their licenses to become hunters. Still, the surprise appearance of Killua's older brother, Illumi, results in Killua murdering another participant and being disqualified. Terrified of his brother, Killua runs back home to his family of assassins, with Gon, Kurapika and Leorio electing to stick together to save him. Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio travel to the estate of the Zoldyck family to save Killua. The boys receive training from the estate's caretaker, enabling them to enter. Gon encounters the man-eating dog Mike, the loyal butler's canary in Goto, and Killua's mother, Kikyo, but refuses to let any of them stop him from seeing Killua, while his friends seek to rescue him. Killua is tortured by another one of his brothers, Miluki. Killua saves himself and convinces his father, Silva, to let him leave again to travel with Gon. Killua reunites with his friends. Kurapika leaves to hunt down the Phantom Troop, the thieves who massacred his people, and Leorio leaves to become a doctor. Gon and Killua agree to travel to Heaven's Arena to grow stronger so that Gon can challenge Hisoka again. Gon and Killua fight their way through Heaven's Arena, defeating increasingly strong opponents. They meet Wing and his apprentice, Zushi, who teach them about the existence of Nen and its fundamentals. Upon reaching the 200th floor of Heaven's Arena, they discover that not only does Hisoka possess Nen, but every other fighter at this level does as well. Gon and Killua turn to Wing to teach them Nen. After mastering the basics of Nen, Gon and Killua successfully defeat other Nen users. Witnessing his victory, Hisoka accepts Gon's challenge to a rematch. Hisoka defeats Gon once more, but Gon accomplishes his primary goal of being able to land a successful hit on him. Unsure of what to do next, Gon decides to go back home to see his aunt, with Killua following along. On Whale Island, Gon's Aunt Mito gives him a message from his father, Jing. Putting the clues given to them together, Gon and Killua deduce that to find Jing, they need to obtain a copy of the video game he designed, Greed Island, and beat it. Already set to meet in Yornu City for a reunion with Leorio and Kurapika, Gon and Killua travel there to participate in an auction, where copies of Greed Island will be available. While away from the others, Kurapika learned and mastered Nen, and now works as a bodyguard for the Mafia. Kurapika's sworn enemies, the Phantom Troop, come to Yornu as well, aiming to steal everything from the auction. Hisoka is revealed to be a traitor among the Phantom Troop, only interested in fighting its leader, Chrollo, and not in the well-being of the group. The troop successfully massacres the auction-goers and steals everything. When Kurapika successfully kills one of the troop members, Chrollo and the rest of the troop turn their attention to hunting him down and avenging their friend. Gon, Killua and Leorio attempt to help Kurapika, while the Mafia, with the hired help of the Zoldyck family, attempt to eliminate the Phantom Troop themselves. Kurapika captures Chrollo, while the other troop members kidnap Gon and Killua, forcing him to agree to a hostage exchange. Gon and Killua are saved, and Kurapika seals away Chrollo's Nen, but he and the troop get away. Hisoka is denied his chance to fight Chrollo, and Chrollo's closest friend, Pecunita, sacrifices herself to inform the other troop members of what happened. Kurapika and Leorio part ways with Gon and Killua once again. Kurapika is now interested in obtaining all the stolen eyes of his people, and Leorio is still focused on his medical studies. Gon and Killua develop their unique hatsus, allowing them to get hired by a wealthy businessman who's purchased every copy of Greed Island and is paying hunters to beat it for him. The boys travel inside the game and enter the world of Greed Island, where if you die for real. To beat the game, Gon and Killua set out to collect all 100 available cards before anyone else. But while Gon wants to play the game fairly, Gentru the Bomber is willing to cheat and murder anyone to achieve victory. Luckily for Gon, he meets Biscuit Kruger, a master hunter who agrees to take him and Killua on as her students. After completing Biscuit's training, the three collect most of the remaining cards. They assemble a team of other players, including Hisoka, to defeat the Game Master, Razor, an old friend of Jing's, in a dodgeball game to win one of the final cards. Gon, Killua and Biscuit fight Gentru and his allies, defeat him, and win Greed Island. Gon gets to meet more of Jing's old friends and earns his prize, the ability to bring any 3 cards from the game into the real world. Gon chooses carefully and selects the ones that he believes will finally lead him to Jing. Gon and Killua end up in the Kaken Empire. There, they don't find Jing, but Kite, Jing's apprentice whom Gon remembers saving him when he was younger. Kite has been studying the Chimera ants who evolve by eating other lifeforms. The Chimera ant queen develops a taste for human flesh, demanding her subjects bring her more humans to feast upon so that she may birth a powerful king. As Gon, Killua and Kite attempt to reach and kill the queen. Before she gives birth to the king, the queen births the king's 3 royal guards, and the ants discover how to use Nen. As the hunters get closer to the king, they're attacked by one of the royal guards, Neferpitou, who forces Gon and Killua to flee and kills Kite. The chairman of the Hunter Association, Isaac Netero, arrives to take over the situation alongside his allies, Morel and Nav, and their students, Knuckle, Shoot and Palm. Gon and Killua are forced to get stronger quickly to join the extermination team, with Biscuit returning to resume their training. Gon remains convinced that Neferpitou could be forced to bring Kite back. The Chimera Ant King, Merwam, is born, kills his mother, and begins his conquest of the world. To pass the time while he waits to put his master plan into place, Merwam has the champions of various games brought before him so he can beat them before killing them. He meets Komugi, a sickly blind girl who's the Gunji world champion and, for the first time, tastes defeat. Merwam becomes obsessed with beating her but cannot. The more they play, the more he comes to appreciate her strength and care for her. The extermination team launches their attack, all prepared to die to give Netero the chance to fight and kill Merwam. Despite Merwam having a change of heart and plans, the rest of the team fights the royal guards while Netero battles him. Netero is outmatched, but attempts to kill them both with a nuclear bomb inside his chest. Netero dies, but Merwam survives with the aid of his guards and returns more powerful than ever. Gon forces Neferpitou to save Kite by threatening to kill Komugi, only to be told that there's nothing Neferpitou can do. Enraged, Gon sacrifices all of his future potential to momentarily gain the strength to kill Neferpitou. As Merwam plays one last Gunji game with Komugi, Komugi, and the remaining royal guards die of radiation poisoning. The Hunter Association holds an election to decide its new chairman. In the interim, the organization is run by Netero's 11 closest allies, the Zodiacs. Among the Zodiacs are the vice-chairman, Pariston Hill, as well as Jing Freaks. Gon is unable to see him as he's in the hospital in critical condition. With both doctors and Nen users unable to help him, Killua returns home to find the one person who can, his younger sister, Iluka, who can grant wishes, to rescue her from their family, who've kept her locked up for years. He's forced to take on Hisoka, Illumi, and the family's strongest butler, Suboni. Jing and the other Zodiacs attempt to stop Pariston from becoming the new chairman. Leorio questions why Jing hasn't gone to see Gon in the hospital. Enraged by his answer, Leorio punches Jing, who is revealed to be so hated that this act makes Leorio one of the most popular candidates for chairman. Killua saves Iluka and uses her power to heal Gon, prompting Leorio to drop out of the election since he only cared about helping his friend. Pariston is elected the new chairman but immediately steps down from the position and hands it to another Zodiac, Cheetle. Gon and Jing finally meet and have the chance to talk. Gon parts ways with Killua and Iluka to return to Whale Island, no longer possessing Nen. In association with the Kaken Empire, Netero's son, Beyond, launches an expedition to the Dark Continent, where the most dangerous of creatures are said to live. The Zodiacs try and fail to stop the expedition from taking place, enlisting Kurapika and Leorio into their ranks to replace Jing and Pariston following their departures. Leorio is offered medical training from Cheadle, while Kurapika is drawn in by the discovery that one of the Kaken princes is a collector of his people's eyes. With the Hunter Association unable to stop the expedition, they instead choose to act as chaperones. With his Nen restored by the Phantom Troop, Krallo agrees to fight Hisoka in Heaven's Arena. Krallo kills him, but Hisoka prepared for this, with his Nen restoring him to life, more powerful than ever. Hisoka kills Shalnark and Kortopi, and vows to kill the rest of the Phantom Troop. On the Black Whale, the ship sailing toward the Dark Continent, Kaken's 14 princes begin a death game, each being given a Nen beast to use to attempt to kill their siblings, with the last one standing becoming the new king or queen of Kaken. Wanting to obtain the Scarlet Eyes owned by Prince Serindik, Kurapika enters into this game by becoming the bodyguard to the 14th prince, a baby, and his mother. To help protect them and overcome the other princes, Kurapika recruits old allies, including Biscuit, and a new partner named Bill. As the other princes begin to kill each other one by one, Serindik learns Nen, proving to be one of the greatest prodigies ever seen. While the succession contest takes place, the Phantom Troop hunts for Hisoka aboard the Black Whale, seeking revenge for their fallen friends. Death Note begins with a Shinigami named Ryak, who laments at the apathy in the Shinigami realm. To ease his boredom and sate his curiosity, Ryak does the unthinkable and drops a murder notebook into the human world on purpose. To the shock of all other Shinigami, Ryak flies through a gateway to the human world to see what happens next, and Ryak soon gets his answer. The notebook materializes on the campus of an ordinary Japanese high school, and of all people, it's the brooding genius Light Yagami, a third-year student, who spots it. Light retrieves the notebook and takes it home, skeptical of its apparent supernatural power until he tests it. Light confirms that the rules in the notebook are accurate, and the notebook's power is real. Light is initially terrified, especially when Ryak confronts him, but then Light realizes this must be his destiny. Like Ryak, Light feels despair about the world around him, disgusted by rampant crime and people's mistreatment of one another. The Death Note's absolute power corrupts Light's mind after just a few days, tempting him to fight crime with crime of his own. To Rook's delight, Light starts using the notebook to kill criminals by the score, which soon attracts Interpol's attention. That includes Light's father, a police officer named Soichiro Yagami. Soichiro follows the letter of the law, and he won't forgive the mysterious killing of criminals, putting him at odds with his son. Thus, Soichiro is quietly excited when the world's greatest detective, the enigmatic person known only as L, declares his intent to bring the perpetrator to justice. A deadly, thrilling game of cat and mouse ensues when L uses a proxy to challenge the mysterious killer, dubbed Kira, on live television. Light falls for the trick and murders L's proxy, confirming Kira's existence and powers, and then Light and L vow to destroy one another. Each believes he is the embodiment of true justice, and each is a stubborn, competitive person who views this battle of wits as a personal fight to see who's right. From there, Light increases his killings as Kira, including more tests to see how else the Death Note can be used. Light even exploits a team of FBI agents who recently arrived in Japan, using Agent Ray Penber to kill the other agents. Ray's fiancée, Naomi Masora, goes after Ray's killer until Light murders her as well, making sure no one can ever find her body. L teams up with Soichiro Yagami and a few other loyal NPA agents to find Kira, but even with their aid, L keeps running into dead ends since Light is L's intellectual equal and has supernatural powers that no one, not even L, can account for. So, L takes a risky step and enrolls at Tuo University, the college that Light just entered, to investigate Light personally as the prime Kira suspect. L has reason to suspect Light but no solid evidence, so L hopes to get that evidence with his own two eyes, including a close study of Light's personality and behavior. L even explains who he is, putting a confused Light on the defensive. Outwardly, the two of them become friends, with L calling himself Hideki Ruga, but they both know they're bitter enemies. Partway through Light and L's anime college adventure together, Soichiro Yagami collapses from a heart attack, and then a shady news station receives a bizarre package from Kira. Light and L briefly set aside their battle of wits to visit Soichiro Yagami in the hospital, and tellingly, Soichiro reaffirms his belief that his daughter, Sayu, could never be Kira. Still, he doesn't say the same about his son, Light. L even says that the compassionate Light just might not be Kira after all, but there's no telling if he believed those words. Then, the notorious Sakura TV station broadcasts a message that claims to be from Kira, but Light knows he never sent such a message. L and his police allies watch the broadcast in horror, and one officer, Ukita, dies trying to stop the broadcast at Sakura TV station. Kira, it seems, can kill people just by seeing them, whereas before, Kira always needed a face and name for a victim. Then, Soichiro Yagami drives an armored vehicle into the Sakura TV station to safely retrieve the Kira tapes, which L analyzes. Soon, the perpetrator finds and meets Light at his home, a blonde young woman introducing herself as Misa Amain. She and Light converse in the latter's bedroom, where Misa explains that Kira murdered her parents' killer, hence Misa's devotion to the Kira persona. Misa also explains that she has the Shinigami eyes, allowing her to see a person's name just by viewing their face, either in person or through media such as photos and TV. Light agrees to have Misa as his second-in-command as the new Kira, and he outwardly humors Misa's romantic advances while actually viewing her as a disposable tool and little more. Misa and L share the Kira identity and feud with L and the police with broadcasts on mainstream news channels, all while L correctly suspects that there are two Kiras who are cooperating. Light intends to have Misa or her Shinigami companion, Rem, kill L, and Rem agrees to do the deed. Unfortunately for Light, right before L's intended murder, the police apprehend Misa as the prime suspect of being the second Kira. Misa has no means of escape and claims she would rather die than sell out Kira. Rem demands Light do something to save her, and Light launches his biggest, most daring scheme yet. He hands himself over as the first Kira to his father's shock, and L puts him into custody. There, Light gives up his Death Note memories, and Misa does the same. Elsewhere, a third Kira rises to power. Light and Misa both implore L and the police to free them. With their Death Note memories gone, they don't have to act, they genuinely believe in their innocence, and that, combined with the new Kira operating elsewhere, convinces L to give Light and Misa another chance. He puts them through a test where Soichiro threatens to shoot Light to see if Light or Misa will defend themselves with their mysterious Kira powers, but nothing happens. Concluding that Light and Misa were once Kira but have since lost their powers, L allows Light and Misa to be partially freed. He keeps them under careful watch at his new headquarters, a building constructed solely for the Kira task force. L pretends to fall into a frustrated depression to test Light's and Misa's reactions, but the former Kiras don't take the bait. A few months later, Light investigates the powerful Yotsuba Group, a large corporation with a hand in many industries, and Light determines that Kira is involved somehow. A dejected L agrees to help Light investigate, and elsewhere, Death Note fans see a group of 8 men in the Yotsuba Group meet to carry out murders as Kira. It's unclear which of the 8 is Kira, but Kira is undoubtedly among them. Kira aims to eliminate the Yotsuba Group's business rivals for the sake of sheer profits. At that point, the young, brash ex-police officer Tuta Matsuda investigates the Yotsuba Group on an impulse, and he identifies the 8 employees involved with Kira. Light and L focus on those 8, even after Kira kills one of those 8, and Misa Amain does her part as well. L uses Misa, along with 2 criminals codenamed Aber and Weedy, to investigate the 7 remaining members of the Kira group. Misa even crosses paths with Rem, who lends Misa aid in figuring out who Kira is. With Rem's help, Misa confirms Kyosuke Higuchi to be Kira, though she can't tell L and Light about Rem. So, Misa investigates Higuchi on her own, posing as an innocent fan of his to get him to reveal more. Misa's risky plan works, and Light and L focus entirely on Higuchi to settle the Kira case, using Aber and Weedy to corner him at last. L sets a brilliant scheme into motion, using Matsuda as a witness on TV to lure Higuchi into looking up Matsuda's real name to try to kill him. Higuchi evades capture a few times and even acquires the Shinigami eyes from Rem, but in the end, Higuchi is cornered on the highway. Higuchi's captured notebook is passed to L and Light. Once he touches the notebook, Light regains his memories and recalls that everything involving Higuchi was part of his original plan. With his memories back, Light resumes that plan and uses a hidden piece of notebook paper to kill Higuchi and thus become the Death Note's official owner. From there, L's group tries to research the Death Note and zero in on the original Kira, but Light makes sure L can't make much headway. Finally, not long after L clears Light and Misa as suspects, Light orders Misa to resume operations as Kira, making her a suspect once again. That pressures Rem to personally kill L and L's assistant, the elderly Watari, to protect Misa. In so doing, Rem violates the Shinigami rules about extending human life and thus perishes, tying up that loose end. With L dead, everyone agrees that Light should become the next L, and Light and Misa ride off into the sunset as victorious Kiras. But their victory is only temporary because at an orphanage in England, two boys are told of L's death, and they want revenge. Death Note undergoes a 5-year time skip, with 23-year-old Light Yagami being a police officer like his father while also being L and Kira, giving him many roles at once. The Kira case has since gone cold, with L and Kira being the same person, but Soichiro Yagami has not yet given up hope. Then, Light's comfortable life is upended when Soichiro receives shocking news. Light's younger sister, Sayu, has been kidnapped, and the kidnappers demand the Death Note in return. Light and his NPA allies look into it at once, and they're not alone either. Elsewhere, a 19-year-old young man calling himself Nier is investigating Sayu's kidnapping, and Nier has an entire task force of his own called the SPPAK based in the United States. Nier contacts Light and partially explains himself, including the fact that he knows Light is a fake L since Nier knows of the original L's death. For now, Light and Nier are partial allies. Soichiro and Light reluctantly agree to the kidnapper's terms, learning that the chief kidnapper calls himself Mello and is located in the American Southwest. Soichiro and his allies fly to the US to perform the exchange, and Light tries in vain to intercept the notebook to make sure Mello can't get it. Sayu is safely rescued, and the notebook is launched, clear across the continent on a missile, giving Light no chance to capture it for himself. Light and his allies remain in the US, working overtime to find Mello and take the notebook back. Mello, another heir of L's, shares Nier's hatred for Kira but is not exactly Nier's ally. In fact, they are unfriendly shonen rivals. Then, Ryuk reunites with a Shinigami named Saito, who owns the notebook that Mello currently has, and Saito agrees to help Light get the notebook back. A daring plan is launched, with Soichiro and the other police storming Mello's den and taking the notebook back by force. Light also has Misa act as Kira and send a notebook to aid the task force. Soichiro even gets the Shinigami eyes and confirms Mello's real name, Michiel Keel, but Soichiro fails to kill him. Then, Soichiro is fatally shot and dies in a hospital, much to Light's frustration. Meanwhile, Nier is highly suspicious of the apparent L-Kira alliance to recapture that notebook, and correctly believes that Kira is L, or at least a member of L's team. Thus, Nier replaces Mello as Light's chief enemy in the story arc. With Mello no longer a serious threat, the detective Nier shifts his focus to finding Kira and pressures L Light's group to turn Kira over. The police refuse at first, but then they begin to suspect Light as well, to the point Shuchi Aizawa visits Nier in person to share some intel, including an account of Light's and Misa's Kira test to escape confinement. A passing comment by Aizawa leads Nier to believe Kira is related to Soichiro Yagami, thus narrowing his list of suspects. Light Yagami. Nier and L battle each other more intensely at this point, using elite agents and assistants to get the job done. For example, Light appoints his female friend Kiyomi Takada to be Kira's spokeswoman on TV, exerting Kira's influence more than ever as the world begins to truly accept Kira. Light also welcomes a cunning lawyer named Teru Mikami to his team, who believes in Kira's vision and volunteers as Kira's agent. On Nier's side is an FBI agent named Hal Lindner, a woman who earns herself a position as one of Kiyomi Takada's bodyguards, allowing Hal to investigate Kira more directly. Meanwhile, Misa Amain loses her Death Note memories once again to ensure the police cannot investigate her and learn more about Kira. On a more personal level, Misa becomes deeply distraught when Light seemingly abandons her as a lover to cozy up to Kiyomi Takada. However, there isn't much the jealous Misa can do about it. Both sides go to Japan to continue their mutual investigations, and they each prepare for their endgame, with Teru Mikami and Kiyomi Takada each getting caught in the middle. First, however, Mello intervenes and captures Kiyomi, only to die when Kiyomi, under Light's command, writes down his name. Then Light kills Kiyomi himself to tie up that loose end. What Light doesn't know is that Teru Mikami is trying to kill Kiyomi for the same reason, using his notebook. That gives NieR's agents a much-needed chance to swipe Teru's notebook and swap it with a replica. Finally, the two sides face off in a dockside warehouse, with Light and NieR each confident in their impending victories. Under Light's orders, Teru tries to kill everyone there except Light and himself, only to fail because he's using the replica notebook. Light and Teru are exposed as Kira agents to the police, and Light has no alibi. Out of desperation, Light tries to kill everyone there himself, only for Matsuda to shoot him with his revolver, injuring him. From there, the timeline diverges slightly between the Death Note manga and anime. In the anime version, Light flees the warehouse and eventually dies in isolation, and it's hinted that Misa, out of grief, ends her own life as well, having no reason to live without Light around. In Death Note's manga version, Light begs Ryuk for aid in that warehouse, only for Ryuk to write Light's name and finish him off with a heart attack. The Kira case ends with Light's death, and 1 year later, the world is the same as it was before Kira arrived, erasing Kira's influence and legacy with surprising speed. In an epilogue scene, Matsuda works to help the new L solve a criminal case, with NieR being the new L. Elsewhere, a procession of Kira worshippers pays tribute to their fallen god, with an unnamed young woman praying for Kira. On that grim note, with Kira the person dead but Kira's vision of justice alive and well, the story of Death Note ends.